Hello, this is Logic Dolphin, and I am playing the France game, Fangs versus France 1. This is actually the same configuration as before, and it's actually the same collection of cards in the minor and major deck as before. But this time, we're going to follow a play-by-play as presented by Merlin1908. And they provided exactly what they did at each stage, and so I can follow along, and I already went through it, and I double-checked how stuff works. So we'll be able to do this very easily, and we'll see what they did, and what differences they made in their plays compared with mine. So, here's the play-by-play. Turn 0, put the presence in A1, we don't need a sacred site in A8. Mountains Explore. Turn 1 Growth. We choose to take a power card and go for the minor. Minor +1 energy, and we pick Call to Tend here. The reasoning being that it provides perfect elements with the plant and the animal. It can clear Blight for Ranging Hunt, and some of the others don't work as well against France 1. For instance, Steam Vents destroys a single explorer, but that doesn't stop a build because there'll be 2 explorers in a land or otherwise a building. So the build will happen anyway. Animated Rack Root similarly. Twilight Fog adds a Blight, but again with 2 explorers, or sorry, not a Blight, adds a Strife, but with 2 explorers it doesn't stop the Blight from happening. So they took Call to Tend. They take Presence, and they're going to do Top Track to get the elements. They place the presence into land 3 for better visibility of the board, mainly because A3 is the only land they can't see right now at range 1. But also being in the jungle helps for the jungle cards. Plus we take from the top track in order to get the element, which helps us get the damage on Raging Hunt. We play 2 Near the Jungle and Teeth Gleam from Darkness. Gives us the damage on Ranging Hunt, and Teeth Gleam adds beasts. So allow us for better damage on future turns. On the fast phase, we use Ranging Hunt on A1, kills the Explorer, and we push the beasts into A6 with our presence to hunt there potentially on the next turn and stop the Ravage. They build an A6 and then they explore in the jungle. And by now you'll have definitely noticed that this is the exact same game as I played. We even have the same minor powers, so everything is the same. But they already chose a different power. They took Call to Tend, whereas I took Animated Rack Root. So, their Explore into Jungle changed Merlin's plans. So the plan now is to make both jungles next turn useless. We're going to abandon A6, let that Ravage. And we can get our presence out with Ranging Hunt. So we're going to use our slow powers right now on A3. Kill an Explorer with 2 Near the Jungle. And we add a Beast with A3. And that's turn 1. You're going to see me zooming in and out like this, and that's because I'm scrolling on Discord to check the notes. So, apologies for the random zooms. Alright, so turn 2, Growth. We're going to take a minor power again. And their choice here was Shadows of the Burning Forest. I chose Drift Down. They chose Shadows. They put a presence into land 8 from the top track, getting us the plant. And they convert it to a Beasts. 2 beasts here, 1 adjacent will kill everything in the land and prevent the build. We will also prevent visibility of A7 in case they explore the sands. They play Prey on the Builders and Call to Tend. It's the damage on Raging Hunt. Fast phase, they use Prey on A3 to stop the build. They use Ranging Hunt on A8, pulling the beasts and the presence from A6, since that land is otherwise blighting. And they push everything into A5. So 2 beasts and the 2 presents into A5. The event card, Tighten It Communities. The beast effect, Prey on the Unwary. Each beast destroys an explorer. So they killed the explorer in A3, which means it was a wasted Prey on the builders. But you didn't know that. Couldn't have known that. You know, pending the event and all that. On each board, add a Dahan to a coastal land with Dahan. We'll place that in A2. So the Mountain Ravage, this was the same as what happened in my game. And they don't build in the jungle, and they explore the sands, but not A7, so that was a successful destruction of the town to stop A7, which is nice. So slow phase, they use Call to Tend on land 3. It pushes 2 Dahan, actually pushes 3 Dahan, but there's only 2 in here. Push 1 to 2 and 1 to 4. And the latter is to put a Dahan in the land so that Call to Tend can target it for blight removal later. Alright. Turn 3. This turn they opt to take a major power. So the choices are Land Thrashes, Sea Monsters, Cleansing Floods, and Jungle Hungers. And they say that this is a tough call. Sea Monsters is great because of all the beasts and all the fear and all the whatnot that Sharp Fangs loves to see. But Jungle Hungers is cheaper, and we can hit the threshold on it. Because Sea Monsters, we don't have any water except for Call to Tend, but it's not enough. Versus Jungle Hungers, we can hit it. We could even hit it this turn if we so wanted by playing Shadows plus Jungle Hungers. So they take Jungle Hungers and they forget the other jungle card, Too Near the Jungle. So now their plan is going to be to push things into A5 to prepare for Jungle Hungers on the next turn. Which Shadows pushes an explorer in a town from a jungle. Terrifying Chase pushes two explorers or towns, plus an additional 2 per beasts in the land. So we're going to place a presence in land 8 from the top track. And we will play the not Jungle Hungers cards. We don't get the damage on Ranging Hunt. That there's not much we can do with the damage this turn other than ping the city, but we also just want to position anyway. So we are going to hunt on A5. We're not going to gather out of A8, but we're going to instead push a beasts into 4 and 6 so that we can do our powers there. All right. So Sacred Sites under threat. So the top does nothing, so they say. Except for the fact that if you do let the island strength repulse them, we do still remove a blight even if there aren't any Sacred Sites. Well, guard yourself. Second clause, sorry, we have to skip this still. Second clause says, each beast generates a fear if invaders are present and moves to an adjacent land if not. So there are 2 beasts that are going to be moving. So the 2 movements are going to be move the beasts in 3 to number 2 with the presence. Since the second or third part of the event card says each spirit with at least 4 Dahan amongst its lands gains a minor power. And between lands 2 and 4, we now have the 4 Dahan, and so we get the free minor power. We'll also push the beasts into number 5 without the presence, and then the others generate the fear. Minor power selection is here, and they chose Nature's Resilience. I believe I chose Sap the Strength here, although I got those off of not the event but something else, but they chose Nature's Resilience. Fear card is Dahan Enheartened. Each player may push Dahan or gather Dahan from or into invaders, and they chose to skip this. So Jungle Ravage, nothing happens. Sands build, they only build an A4. And the Explorer is also into sands, but now with an escalation. So they place the escalation, they do the escalation in A7 to put the town instead of A4 with the Blight. Alright. Slow phase, basically to push everything into A5. So they do Terrifying Chase in 4, pushing all the invaders into 5. And they do Shadows A6 into A5. Turn number 4. Thanks to the free power last turn, they don't do a reclaim this turn. But instead, they take 3 energy, potentially take a second major on their reclaim turn, and then they do presence into land 8. So now we have a sacred site for nature's resilience, and they convert a presence into a beast in A2. They play both the cards in hand. In the fast phase, nature's resilience on land 7 to defend it. And then ranging hunt in A2 to kill the city. They pull the beasts and presence to do that. And they move a beast into all the coastal lands at this point. There's no other coastal thing. Everything is inland right now. But it looks like they're spreading the beasts out. And they also move a presence into A3. Since Jungle Hunger targets from a jungle, and so we can allow... we can target more lands that way. Farmers seek the Dahan for aid. As Merlin says, this screws the plan of land 7 kills itself and 5 dies by Jungle Hungers. Which is unfortunate. And the reason for that is because if we spurn the invaders, we'll do 2 damage to Dahan and a land with buildings in Dahan, which is only A7, that kills one of them. We add Blight to a land with at least 2 buildings, which is going to be A5. And buildings have -1 health until the end of the turn, but also with new diseases. Disease is added to a land with both Dahan and invaders, and 2 damage to Dahan there, and that would still only be A7. So both of the Dahan will be gone, and the A7 town still exists, and there will also be a Blight in A5. So they chose to go with Teach the Invaders, which adds a town to a land with Dahan, and the next normal Ravage becomes a build. And they put the town in A7. The Fear card, too many monsters. Each player removes an Explorer town from a land with beasts, and they choose to remove an Explorer from A5. They build in the sands instead of ravaging. Right, the escalation we do in A3. And instead of originally doing the Jungle Hungers in A5, they do it in A3 instead, in light of the jungle build. Whew, all right. Turn 5. So, they take the reclaim, and they take a major. Now these are powers that we didn't see when I played the game, because we didn't take a second major. So, grant hatred, smothering infestation, blazing renewal, and dissolve the bonds. And they take smothering infestation. You can actually get the threshold off of it with Call to Tend. And it says, this also deals with land 5 instead of Jungle Hungers. And they take that major and they forget Terrifying Chase. So now we got to the animal element, so now Merlin starts taking off the card plays track. And they place it into land 8. And it's immediately replaced with the beasts. So the play here, Shadows of the Burning Forest, and Jungle Hungers. This gives us the threshold on Jungle Hungers. They're going to lit 7 Ravage. They're going to push out of 8 into 7 and use Jungle Hungers to kill land 7. So the build is then dealt with the Ravage and A7 Blights, but not much that can be done now there with the 2 towns and a city there. We use Ranging Hunt on land 1 to gather up beasts from 2. And they don't push it. The event. There are no choices here, no coastal towns, no lands with 2 Dahan and 2 Boars, or they did damage or something. Fear card does nothing. Light happens. They build an A8. They explore mountains. And for the escalation, they put the town in A1. Slow phase, we use shadows on 8 to push into 7. And they use Jungle Hungers on A7. And A7 is now cleared. Alright, so what's the state of the game right now? Still on Terror level 2. We are 5 fear away from Terror level 3. And they are currently building in mountains. The Jungle Ravage, mostly dealt with, other than this Explorer. So, turn 6, they put a presence from the bottom track for 3 card plays. They put it into land 1. And they replace it with the beasts. And they take a power. Also, these are powers we didn't see in our game, but they chose Prowling Panthers, but they say it isn't relevant. So, potentially we are winning the game this turn. They take Call to Tend, Smothering Infestation, and Prey on the Builders. Not Nature's Resilience, Prey on the Builders. So we hit the threshold on Smothering Infestation. As we said, that can deal with A5. We can Ranging Hunt in A1. We can Prey on A6. And I guess depending on where the escalation occurs, we have a Frenzied Assault to deal with the town that's placed, I suppose. I'm kind of guessing. I'm not Merlin, but that's just what I view it here. So we Prey on 6. We don't need to gather. We use Ranging Hunt in A1. We take the beasts and presence out of A6. Kills everything. And we push 2 beasts and a presence into A5. Now I have an event card. Promising Farmland, which places a town instead of an explorer when exploring. And stuff happened. Guess I added a beasts. 2 fear cards. Depart the dangerous land. Each player removes an explorer town from a land with beasts, disease, or at least 2 Dahan. They opt to remove the number 8 explorer. Second fear card. Wary of the Interror. Each player removes an explorer town from an inland land. They remove an explorer from A6. So Jungle Ravage is done. Mountain build is skipped. And the Explorer happens in the wetlands. The Explorer, and since we're placing a town, we choose A5 first. Then they explore into A2. And they escalate into A2. So, we are currently 4 fear away from Terror level 3, which is victory with no cities. And Smothering Infestation gives us 2 fear. We have the threshold for our damage to each invader, plus we're doing 3 damage in the land. And there are 3 towns in there, which is 3 fear. That's enough to win the game. So they called Attendant A4 to remove a blight. 4 points. And a Smothering Infestation in A5. The 3 damage happens first because of order of operations, and so we do 1 damage to each of the towns. And then the 1 damage to each invader wipes that board, or land. We hit Terror level 3, and we win the game. So, victory, 36 points, 3 Dahan and 2 Blight on the board, 5 cards remaining in the Invader deck. But that was definitely a different approach than what I did. So, more than one way.